The best strikers in the UFC. Man, that's a question I think the whole world has been asking. And today I'm gonna rank the best strikers in the UFC, man. So what do we mean by strikers, firstly? Well, we just mean the pure stand-up game. So, if a bit of your striking game is dependent on the fact that you can land a takedown, you might have to have a little bit less points. Those things have to be taken into consideration. And by the whole striking game, I don't just mean the offense, I mean the defense as well. And certain things people forget. Power is a part of striking. If you have good power and just beat the fuck out of dudes, man, you just beat them up, but you got that one punch KO power, that does make you a better striker. It's not just pure technique, it's also that grit, And yeah, let's just get right into it. We got the S, A, B, C, D. We skipped the E because I feel like the E tier kind of sucks, I just want to go straight to the F tier, guys, for the bombs on this list. But starting off pretty strong, Nassourdine Imavov. This guy's actually pretty damn fast, like he's a very fast twitch fighter for middleweight division. He's pretty good at mixing up the strikes, keeping it tricky. He has decent power as well. He showed out against Adesanya, and he's outstruck other people in the middleweight division. Brendan Allen, as well. Like, this guy's actually pretty damn good. But I feel like it's hard to rate him so highly when he's only proven it, against Israel Adesanya. But pure skills wise, he's a very interesting prospect. He might actually be, one of the best strikers in middleweight history. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you just watch him purely based on skill, he's actually pretty damn good, But where would I put him? That's a good question, So Cannonier, Adesanya, he did really good performances against them, right? But we forget he also beat Caio Borralho, and he did it pretty easily. He's very competent on the feet, very defensively responsible. Solid B. Now, listen, B is good. B is actually very good. You gotta think about it like that. B is like good. C is like average. D is like below average, and F is shit, right? So then that means A is very good, and S is like just superb, man. Superb, bro. S is absolutely brilliant. Anyway. On to Adesanya. Man, this guy's striking, and listen, it was very reflex dependent, right? Now that he's an old man, he keeps getting punched in the face. But listen, Israel Adesanya, in his prime, no one could outstrike the guy. He was absolutely ridiculous. He knocked out Alex Pereira. Are we just gonna forget that, bro? This guy is the GOAT of middleweight striking. I mean, his feints, where he just stand there doing nothing for a couple minutes, just throwing feints. His fast twitch muscle fibers, just throwing some mad leg kicks, his question mark kicks. Dude, we forget how good Izzy was just the pure striking. And his kickboxing resume speaks for itself too, So, just one bad thing about him is that he was too reliant on his reflexes and not his actual, striking defense. So when he's old man Izzy now, he just keeps getting pummeled in the chin. But don't forget young Izzy, bro. The up and coming Izzy, where he's going crazy. He'd bop and weave out the way, duck underneath punches, catch you with a counter, like he did against Whitaker. Man, special striker, bro. We're gonna have to put him in A tier for sure. I wouldn't say he's S tier, just because he declined quite a bit, and he faced problems once his old age caught up to him. But he's definitely A tier. And next is Anderson Silva. People would call him the pioneer of MMA striking, the man who beat up math teachers in the octagon, bro. Dude, Anderson Silva, one of the GOATs, bro. But where do I rank him in terms of striking? Well, similar to Izzy, he relied a lot on that reflex game, like the punch would come, he wouldn't be there. His chin maybe would be in the air, but it wouldn't be in the air close to the punch. You get what I'm saying? But regardless, he did, revolutionize striking for MMA as a whole. He was out there making dudes look like, pretzels, bro. He was snapping them, bro. Ducking and weaving out of punches and just catching them with counters. And this guy's power was... Listen, I know we all like to dog on Anderson Silva because he really beat no one good at all. But the competition he faced who were plumbers, he did make them look like plumbers. He made them look like what they were supposed to look like. And he did it effortlessly. Like, this guy's one-punch power in his prime was ridiculous. Like, he'd be walking backwards and catch dudes with a punch that would send them fucking flying. So, honestly, we'll put him A tier as well. Respect to the legend, bro. The math teacher beater, Anderson Silva. And the next one, Tom Aspinall. Okay, guys, let's get this out the way. As you move up the divisions, the striking typically gets less and less skilled, okay? So, it's just a fact that the dudes in the lower divisions are more highly skilled than the dudes in the higher divisions. And Tom Aspinall is a prime example of that, because he might have the worst fucking striking, the most overrated striking out of all these guys here, except maybe some other heavyweight bums. Everyone wants to go on about his boxing. Yes, Aspinall has one-punch KO power. That's literally about it when it comes to his striking. His kicking game is basically non-existent. And in terms of boxing, Aspinall's elite boxing only consists of a 1-2 move, 1-2 move. And you know how I'm doing this little head movement? I swear he doesn't even have head movement. Aspinall just comes into range, 1-2, gets out of range. That's it. He might be the most overrated motherfucker of all time, bro. Are we really saying this guy is an elite striker because he has a 1-2? A 1-2? Gane was using pivots and was bloodying him up. He didn't know how to face someone who could actually move their feet around. F tier, bro. I'm not even trolling. He is shit. Oliveira. It's hard to judge Oliveira based on his striking because, of course, he's not a striker. He's got zero boxing, for sure. Like, his boxing is absolutely outrageously bad. And it kind of shows how low skilled the UFC can be at some points. How badly he performed against Ilya in the boxing department. He's got zero striking defense. Oliveira's striking defense is actually horrendous. Like, in basically all his fights, he gets, caught with a big punch. Even old man Michael Chandler, who lost to Paddy Pimblett, nearly finished Charles in the 5th round because Charles Oliveira has zero striking defense. In terms of offense, he can sit people down with his punches. He actually has, decent power. But, other than that, he has really no technique. He's kind of a bum on the feet, right? He's just got decent heart. That's about it. We're gonna put him at D tier, just below average, nothing special. Khamzat. See, once again, it's hard to judge him on his striking because he is primarily a grappler. But in what we've seen of his striking, he's too willing to scrap, He's not a very technical guy. He just wants to get out there. If he's striking, he just gets out there and he swings, We saw that against Burns. We saw that against Usman at some points. When he's grappling, he's super safe. He keeps it super safe. He knows what he's doing. He's just going to maul his opponents. But when he's striking, he doesn't really have a striking game. He's got half decent boxing. He can definitely stand and bang when he's needed to, but he's just not a very good striker. DT as well. Conor McGregor. Now this is an interesting one, super interesting one, because dude, in this prime he was definitely something special. Before he had that fight against Floyd, as you guys know, that was karate Conor McGregor, the fucking kung fu guy with the fucking stance, making people miss and then catching them, after slipping, catching them with that big fucking left hand, from southpaw. Honestly, man, what a special fighter he was in his prime striking. Knocked out Aldo in 13 seconds. You know, embarrassed the young Dustin Poirier. Beat up Chad Mendes. And people, I know he lost to Poirier twice, but people, like, go watch those matches, guys. And don't tell me that even when he became a boxer, he was still absolutely ridiculously good at striking. He was so good at striking. Even when he became a boxer, his fundamentals were actually good. And people forget he hung in the ring with Mr. Mayweather for 10 rounds, bro. I know Mayweather was barely trying, but still. That was super impressive. But, you know, he just hasn't fought in 5 years. But in his prime, he was super special. Very good power. His kicking game was, bro, we forget Conor McGregor's kicking game is ridiculous, bro. You know, his fucking spinning heel kicks. He was such a complete striker, bro. In both phases of his career, boxing McGregor and karate McGregor. I wish we got to see more boxing McGregor because he still was so elite. People don't realize, man. When he fought Khabib, when he fought Poirier, he was still so good, bro. So good. But where do I put McGregor? A tier, bro. I know he's a coke addict right now, and he probably won't ever come back to fight, but he's still a legend of the game. Leon Edwards. Ooh, man, Leon Edwards. Where do I place him as a striker? See, this is kind of hard, man. Because as a striker, he is fucking boring, right? Leon Edwards' style of striking is just do the least amount possible to win. So he doesn't care about, you know, doing flashy combos or doing anything special. He just wants to outland you a couple times during the course of a round and win it by that. But, you know, even other than that, his defense is very good. I know he got KO'd by Prates, but that's fucking Prates. If Prates touches anyone decently enough, they're going out cold. Leon's striking is very, very underrated. Extremely underrated. When he's facing other pure strikers or dudes which he can negate the takedown against, he does very good. He does very, very good. And people forget that he did outstrike Usman in that third fight, and he did it pretty comfortably as well. But yeah, he's just the definition of mid. Like, there's nothing much else to say about him. Leon Edwards is just mid. He's boring, he's a bum, he's a mid bum. You know, I still don't know how this guy became champion, and I still remember when people used to say he would have a good fight against Islam. Do you guys remember that? I remember that. But anyway, Gaethje, you know, who just came off an amazing performance against Pimblett, absolutely brutalized him. See, Gaethje's striking is very interesting, right? Because his defense, you know, is actually, it's pretty dog shit. He just relies on the fact that he's tough as nails, you know. But in terms of forcing his opponents to play his inside boxing, you know, dirty game, getting inside, and he does have very underrated power, by the way. You know, people forget he was the first person to knock down Max Holloway. Yes, he did. Watch that fight. He knocked down Max Holloway in the fourth. So his power is very fucking good. But in terms of pure striking skill, for MMA, it works. And I actually can't remember what I said at the start of the list, but we are ranking this. We are ranking this on MMA striking. So, you know, I know it wouldn't translate well to, you know, pure boxing and pure kickboxing and striking style. Like, he telegraphs his leg kicks too much. But in MMA, it works damn well. And he can walk forward and he can force people into his dirty little, you know, inside clinch boxing game. Throwing kicks out of the clinch. This guy's a psycho, bro. Definitely B tier, bro. Ciryl Gane, we saw him outstrike the so-called best striker in the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall. And yeah, man, I feel like Ciryl Gane is actually an insanely good fighter. He's a very, very good kickboxer. He's one of the few heavyweight people who are genuinely kind of skilled, genuinely kind of athletic, you know. He can use his footwork to move around. But just because he's in the heavyweight division, you know, it's not too impressive being skilled in the heavyweight division. Because a lot of people are skilled in the heavyweight division, man. So, you notice I just zoomed in? That's gonna make the video quality even better. You guys gotta tap in, bro. But, anyway, where do I rank, big old Ciryl Gane? That's a good question. Same as Leon. I'm not comfortable putting him with the other guys in the list. But as a pure kickboxer, he is excellent. He is excellent. I know he sometimes has hard time with the grappling, right? Like Volkov got him on the ground, held him down. Even Ngannou did. Jones took him down. Aspinall didn't because Aspinall was shit. But this isn't about MMA. This is about pure striking. So that's why I'm putting him at C tier, man. GSP. Superman punch with the leg kick. People forget he invented that combo. The legendary combo no one uses because that was like 20 years ago when MMA was shit. It's hard to rank GSP, honestly, because he was a very good striker, but he did mix in the takedowns quite a lot. He would make his opponents think. He did have that Kyokushin background, though, that Kyokushin karate background. And to be fair, he was a bit unorthodox with his combinations, but they worked very, very well. And he was able to, get people thinking when he was moving around on the feet. His power wasn't the best. He certainly wasn't one of those guys who could knock you out with one punch, but he was one of those guys who could comfortably outstrike you over the course of 5 rounds. C tier again, maybe B actually. B. I think B is fair for GSP. On to the next. Dustin Poirier. This is where it starts to get tricky. Where do I put Dustin Poirier? Should I put him A or S? Because it's clearly one of those two. In terms of pure boxing, he might be the best to do it in the UFC. We saw how well he did against McGregor, who's an insane striker. We saw him beat up Holloway twice. His pure hands in his defense and the way he was able to roll with shots, just stay calm and composed in the pocket. His body shots were very good. His kicking game, he wouldn't throw many high kicks, but he was, very good with his low kicks, his body kicks. He was able to stand in his prime, and even near the end of his career, he could have, stood and banged with anyone in lightweight, in featherweight, even in welterweight, to be honest. And because of that, I think he is at the top of A tier. And actually, because we are adjusting the tiers, GSP is ahead of Imavov and Gaethje, and yeah, the rest looks decent. I'll put Khamzat above Oliveira. Yeah, okay. Now on to Holloway. Dude, Holloway has really, gone up levels, bro. I feel like he used to be so one-dimensional. He's an insane quantity striker. He's always throwing punches. He doesn't have that type of power to sit you down with one punch, but he has that type of quantity where you just eventually have to sit down because of how many punches he's throwing at you. It becomes so overwhelming. It takes its toll. But in recent years, he's revolutionized his whole game with his kicks. I think it really came to light against Gaethje when he won that fight against Gaethje because he split his nose with that spinning back kick. But Holloway's kicks are also ridiculous. The way he's able to utilize them very cleanly. And he's so composed. He went those three-ish rounds with Ilya, and was just standing basically in the pocket, exchanging with Ilya, doing it perfectly. And I know his defense might not be the best. He relies on his chin sometimes, but because of his pure, quantity, he's such a ridiculously hard striker to beat, man. I'm gonna have to put him at A tier, just above Poirier. And now onto JDM. JDM is an interesting one. He was talked about like one of the best boxers to ever do it. Beat up Burns, beat up Bilal, win against Islam. He didn't lose because he had boxing. He lost because he doesn't know how to grapple whatsoever. And Islam is miles ahead in the grappling department. But in terms of pure skill, he is very good, you know. He can roll with shots extremely well. He has very good defense. His power is low-key overrated as hell. He's not one of those guys who can sit you down with one punch, you know. He's not an Ilya. But he is one of those guys who's very technical. Very good combinations, you know. But I feel like his overall striking game is kind of missing, you know. He doesn't utilize his leg kicks as much as a guy like Holloway. Is a guy he doesn't usually, you know, he just doesn't. And because of that, I would say Jack Della Maddalena is heavily overrated in terms of striking, because really, who has he outstruck when you think about it? Burns? Bilal? Like, that's it? Is that like really the caliber of opponents? And like, who else could he outstrike in the welterweight division? I'm actually thinking about that right now in my head. He would probably get outstruck by Morales, Ian Gary too. Honestly, Ian Gary, yes, I know it might sound crazy, but he would. Shavkat would give him a tough time, you know. So I don't know. Listen, fundamentally he's very sound, but when we're actually putting him into the octagon, he should actually. I know this is a hot take, but he's not that effective, you know, and that's why I'm putting him at C tier. You know, maybe technically he is better than a guy like Gaethje, but a guy like Gaethje, sometimes the technicality doesn't matter too much. It's just purely how well it translates inside the octagon. And I actually can't remember at the start of the video if I said I'm rating them with technicality. Well, guess what? I'm throwing my own criteria out the window to fit my own agenda. C tier for JDM. Yuri Prochazka. Now this is an interesting one. Yuri Prochazka has a crazy chin. Insane chin. I still don't know how Pereira cracked that chin twice. That just shows how good Pereira's power is. But because of how good Yuri's chin is, he can swing like a madman. And he can have his chin up in the air, swinging, bumbling around, just causing chaos and knocking dudes out, finishing them. Now, in terms of pure technicality, Yuri Prochazka has zero pure technicality, right? He's just a brawler. But sometimes that works, and in terms of the pure, you know, MMA game, being a pure striker, doesn't always mean you're going to be the best striker. Sometimes the brawler is the better striker because they're more calculated in the way that they can take the risks and actually get in there and finish you. And Yuri is one of those guys. When Yuri smells blood, he can throw some crazy combos and just beat you up. He has very good power as well. And it may come as a surprise to people, but I honestly think Yuri is in the same caliber as these guys. That sounds crazy, but it really isn't when you think about it. He's not particularly good at anything, right? He's not an insane boxer, an insane kickboxer, but he's just so good at just something. It might be just his samurai spirit, but it's something that just makes his striking so deadly. And at the end of the day, pure effectiveness matters the most. So that's why Yuri's B tier. Now on to Jon Jones. Jon Jones actually has shit boxing, guys. That's always been his weakest point, you know, in terms of his striking game. If you get in that boxing range with Jon Jones, you're probably going to beat him up, right? Anyone who's gone to that boxing range with Jon Jones has found that out the easy way, that he's shit in that range. But outside of that, his reach is so ridiculous in the way he's able to utilize, you know, his knees, his kicks, you know, his straight shots to make sure you don't get up close to him. Really, no one was able, you know, for a long time to compete with Jon Jones in that department. And it may not have been the prettiest thing ever, but it was so damn effective, so damn smart. You know, his fight IQ, that's a part of striking as well. His striking IQ is ridiculous. I know his takedown threat at times might have helped it. But yeah, man, Jon Jones was a very good striker. He's B tier as well. B tier as well. Aldo. Aldo's one of those guys, bro. Listen, this is what I'm saying. Aldo is probably, arguably, one of the most technical people on the list. But funnily enough, it doesn't matter how technical he is. His chin wasn't ever that good, and he kind of lost to every elite striker he faced, and that's something a lot of guys don't want to talk about. How can you be a top tier MMA striker when you lose to like every other top tier MMA striker? And I know Aldo, so underrated, right? Like, he was able to fight so cleanly. He really emulated that, precision based striking, where he'd always land in the right places. So smart, so crafty. A lot of tricks in the tool bag of his crafting, but it just didn't really work out for him because I feel like at times he was too timid or too aggressive, like against McGregor. And because of that, in terms of pure MMA striking, also B tier. Or should we put him A tier? Just because he was good. A tier. A tier is fair. Listen, in the WEC days he was good. He's elite, but he's not ahead of the other guys. Elite. You know what I'm saying? On to Derek Lewis. Man, he literally has nothing except KO power in big swings. Sometimes it works though, but this is the heavyweight division. A run in there's a bomb. Lyoto Machida. I can't be bothered ranking like Machida, right? Like, I feel like he, like, Loki. I stole this template, guys. I don't even know why he's here. I can't be bothered ranking Machida. Or should we? Wow, he gave John Jones some problems on the feet, bro. Man, he was a marauder back in the day. Former light heavyweight champ, used to rule over those guys, bro. Respect to the old heads, man. Lyoto Machida in the D tier for Dilf, because he's a good-looking old guy. Islam Makhachev. This is a bit tricky. Because, his striking is very, very good, but it depends on the threat of the takedown. How good would Islam's, striking be in the octagon if he didn't have that wrestling with him? That's a question to ask. Islam's kicking game has improved massively. We saw that against JDM. We saw him able to stand and bang with fucking Volk, with Dustin Poirier, with all these elite guys. It's just that the threat of the takedown, how much do we consider that, as a factor in terms of how good he is at striking? Do guys shy away from engaging with him in the striking battle, making him look better because of that? Yes, they do. But I don't think it's too apparent, but I feel like Islam striking, it's very clean, it's very technical. But that threat of the takedown, I can't put him at A tier. I gotta put him at B tier, bro. Gotta put him at B tier. Very good kickboxing though. Islam's kickboxing is absolutely elite. He knocked out Volk in the first fight. He stood and traded with Volk. B tier. Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is actually a very good striker, guys. He is so clean. He's always able to land down the pipe. His straight shots are absolutely impeccable. His knees too. Landing knees against Song Yadong, against, Chito Vera. O'Malley is very damn good. I feel like the only person who's outstruck him in the UFC is Peter Yan. But even then, he gave Peter Yan the blueprint to beat Merab with the body kick. People forget in that first fight, he hurt Merab badly with the body kick. I have no clue why he didn't exploit that in the second fight, but it is what it is. Where am I putting Sean O'Malley? Oof. Man, it feels like B tier is just being filled up. Are we gonna have to put him B tier? Let me adjust the B tier a little bit, actually. So, You guys think that's the right order? I think that's the right order. Anyway, freaking, why is this guy? Why is this guy here? This is very confusing. Who made this list? Why are you adding all these? We have two, you know, heavyweight bombs in a row. Fucking, they're kind of like an Oreo though, you know, black and white. Black and white, man. Oh, can I even be bothered ranking these fat heavyweight bombs? Guys, I really hate fat heavyweight bombs. You know me. It's so hard, like, to rank how skillful they are, because it's the heavyweight division. How skillful can they be? Nah. Guys, is it ridiculous if I don't know? Is it ridiculous? See, now this is where I'm really thinking, man. Overeem. Listen, guys, fat heavyweight bombs are gonna go on F. Like, what are they even good at, bro? Just throwing some big, gnarly fucking punches, bro. I can't even be bothered rating them, bro. Sorogan is skilled. That's about it. The rest are just shit. Like, just horse shit. They just all beat each other. It's so random. Like, they all get lucky knockouts on one another. Like, makes no sense, bro. This guy Derek Lewis KOs Volkov, then Volkov beats Sergey Pavlovich, right? Makes no sense. This guy Derek Lewis beats Ngannou, then Alistair Overeem gets knocked out by Ngannou. What a shit show, man. Get rid of the heavyweight division. But finally, on someone interesting, Alex Pereira. That KO power is absolutely ridiculous. But in terms of the skill he has in MMA striking, he's been outstruck a bunch and, you know, fought very close fights, bro. He got knocked out cold by Adesanya, so I don't want to put him in the same tier as Adesanya because Pereira's defense, it's actually pretty shit. He went to a war with Roundtree. Yuri outstruck him for one round before he got knocked out in the second. People forget that first fight, Yuri had him before that early stoppage. He did. But even then, you know, he has, you know, won that first fight with Adesanya. He has brutalized Yuri twice. Brutalized Jamal Hill. Brutalized Ankalaev. But it's like the people he's facing aren't even that particularly skilled. Maybe Sean Strickland. That knockout actually was very impressive against someone defensively responsible like Sean Strickland. I guess we have to put him at A as well, guys. Low A though. Because he is, you know, still got a lot of flaws in his game. Like, Pereira is not defensively sound whatsoever. The only reason he can fight the way he does is because he has that ridiculous KO power. It makes people think twice before getting in range of that hook, you know. But in terms of pure striking, he's still A tier. Petr Yan. I think Petr Yan is the first S tier, bro. He really is. Arguably the most skilled striker in UFC history. He has outstruck everyone he's ever versed in the UFC. Think about how ridiculous that is with the names he's faced. Sean O'Malley, you know, Petr Yan, Jose Aldo. These are just some of the names. And, you know, Marlon Rice, like, these are such good names, and Jan's just going out there and beat them up. Especially that, you know, win against Aldo. That was an insane win at the time. That's for the Bantamweight Championship. That wasn't no old man Aldo. That was a good version of him. Very good version. And Jan had a clinic against him. And I think the thing that makes Jan S tier is his tool bag and striking is so deep, you know. His body kicks, his leg kicks, you know. He can throw some knees, he can throw insane boxing combinations. He's got it all. Clear S tier, bro. Yeah, nothing much else to say. Bobby Reaper Whitaker. It's hard to judge his striking. It's just mid. Probably the definition of mid, actually, right? Like, against easy guys, he beats them. Against hard guys, he loses. It just makes him mid. You know, he's never really been able to have dominant striking performances, fight after fight after fight after fight. He's kind of, you know, one of those guys. He can, depending on the day, he can go out there, you know, do what he needs to do. To be fair, he did beat Adesanya in the second fight. That was a robbery, but even so, you know, he's one of those guys. He picks his shots. He's not a quantity type guy, you know. But when he finds an opportunity, he can finish you. He's got decent power too. Anyway, on to can't be bothered doing all these irrelevant bums, right? Like, I want to have some fun guys out here. Volkanovski, also S tier, probably the best MMA striker, actually, because although Jan would probably be more skilled and has, you know, more things within his game, Volk is just so much more effective in the way he's able to utilize his striking, his fight IQ. You know, he picks up on his opponent's patterns so well. It's honestly a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. He beat Max 3 times, outstruck him 3 times. If that doesn't make you the GOAT of MMA striking, I don't know. You know, I don't know what does, bro. What else? You know, look at the guys on his list. Volk's beat Holloway 3 times. He's beat Aldo. You know, he went tit for tat with Islam in that first fight, you know. Just insane. And the way he's able, you know, to do it even to his old age. Diego Lopez as well outstruck Lopez easily. He did it easily in that first fight, and he's gonna do it easily again. Probably the best MMA striker of all time. Now Shavkat. Shavkat's pretty interesting. He's very low quantity, but he does pack some power, and he's so good at picking his shots. His last fight was against Ian Gary. That's crazy to think. That happened like fucking 2 years ago. Man, we need to see him back in the octagon. But he did beat Ian Gary on the feet. He's very good, you know, in the clinch. Very good in the clinch. Shavkat is a bit of a clinch merchant. He can get up in the clinch and start hitting you with those, you know, shoulder shots and little dirty little tricks. Solid B tier striker, you know. Sean Strickland. What makes Sean Strickland striking so impressive is how good he is defensively. Like, in terms of pure defense, I know DDP kind of fucked him up, and so did Alex Pereira. But in terms of pure defense, you know, aside from that, he is so good. He's so defensively sound in that Philly shell. But his offense is so lacking. He's got like one jab and one teep kick. That's literally it. Definition of mid. C tier. And sometimes that defensive responsibility, it bites back in him, because he's not willing to throw too many counters. He's not willing to take risks or, you know, move forward, pressure his opponents. He just stays there in his little shell, teeping and jabbing. So C tier. Wonderboy Thompson, the karate guy. Man, like, he's so entertaining to watch, but he just doesn't pull it off that well sometimes, you know. He can make dumb mistakes. He can be too reckless, you know. But he is absolutely beautiful to watch. He is a bit old now, though. Out of respect for the legend, we'll put him in the mid-tier. Listen, the mid-tier is good, guys. It's a good place to be. If you're in the mid-tier, that's respectable. Topuria. S tier, bro. One of the best ever. One punch KO power. You know, what's a fun fact? You want to hear a fun fact? The Poirier's actually never thrown a high kick in his UFC career. So in terms of like that pure MMA striking, he is, you know, not the skilled, but in terms of pure effectiveness, the way he's able to throw such long combinations with that insane power, he's always able to back people against the fence and just knock their lights out. Like, his MMA striking is probably... Oh, could it be better than Vulcan Yan? I don't know. I think it is, just because he has that one-shot power. That one-shot power is actually so important in your striking, you know? That's what makes someone, is like, you know, a scary striker, if they can just put your lights out. And in terms of that combination of technique, you know, skill, and putting people's lights out, no one is better than Ilya, bro. You know, he keeps it clean. He's so good at rotating, pivoting, creating that power. He's very good defensively as well. He can roll with shots really good. He's got a good chin. He can eat shots back. I think he could probably be the best MMA striker of all time. Is that ridiculous? I actually don't think that is. You know, it's about effectiveness. That's what matters. The bottom line is effectiveness. How many of your opponents do you go out there and you outstrike? And Ilya's done it to literally everyone. And I know Volk also did it to Max Holloway, but Volk didn't put Max Holloway out cold. There's a big difference, you know? There's a big, big difference. And now, finally, MVP. I'm happy putting MVP at A tier. His striking game is absolutely ridiculous. That point fighting taekwondo style. He is so good at it. He makes everyone on the feet look like a fool. And basically everyone who versus MVP has to resort to grappling unless they want to lose. But that's the thing also. His game is so one-dimensional. If you just grapple against him, you will beat him. But yeah, his striking is top-notch, bro. I feel like these sort of, you know, karate guys, a lot of these sort of like karate make people miss type guys in the A tier, McGregor, Adesanya, you know, Anderson Silva, MVP. These types of guys are probably the most entertaining strikers to watch, you know. Just the ones who are always in flow state, watching the punches go by, responding with counters. And yeah, I'm happy to put MVP at that A tier. But yeah, that does it for today, boys. Best strikers in the MMA ranked. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below roasting me for being, you know, dumb as shit. And anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe, boys.